So hello and welcome to the Uplevel Your Health, Wealth, and Your Mindset for the New Paradigm Summit. I'm your host, Mariko Hirakawa, and it's great to be here. I'm thrilled to have our amazing guest today talking about cryptocurrency. And before we dive into this really rich topic, I would love for you to go into Facebook. If you haven't joined the group already, please join our Facebook group, Uplevel Summit. And that's where all the action is happening. You can post your ahas, your comments, your questions, and also the contest that's running concurrently with this summit is being run there. So if you entered and you're curious about, if you want anything, that's where we're going to be announcing it. So join Uplevel Summit group in Facebook. Also, if you missed any of the presentations so far, then you can go into our upgrade page, which is at uplevel-summit.com/upgrade. And there's an amazing bonus package with all of the speakers' interviews there with transcripts and nugget notes and all of that. So check it out there, uplevel-summit.com/upgrade. So without further ado, I want to introduce our special guest for today, Arman Rousta. And he's a New York-based serial entrepreneur with 25 years of startup development, including several exits under his belt. And he's a rising thought leader whose companies are constantly pushing the envelope and introducing new paradigms into the marketplace. His B-Lab venture builder creatively integrates a digital agency called Blue Liner that applies his 2 decades of tech and market expertise to help its portfolio of startups to develop their products and brand identities. And recent innovations by Arman include the invention of TimeBug, which is a goal-setting and life management app, and Kitcoin, a financial literacy-based blockchain app, which we'll be talking about with him today. And Arman is a believer in holistic life balance, and he's also an academic all-Ivy League student athlete and a soccer player at Columbia University. So amazing, varied, rich background. It's so great to have you here, Arman. And I really enjoyed our meeting the other day in downtown Manhattan. That was a lot of fun. So I know that you've been on this journey of serial entrepreneurship, of building many companies, selling some of them, and now you're on to this cryptocurrency product. So excited to talk to you about that product. But before we do, I just want to introduce the audience to the distinctions within this realm, because it's such a hot buzzword these days that it's getting increasingly difficult to ignore this word cryptocurrency. If you could kindly define it for us, and also if you could distinguish it from blockchain. How do you define cryptocurrency, and what is the difference between cryptocurrency and blockchain? Are they the same thing? How are they related if they're different?
Great. No, it's a great question, Mariko. And first of all, thank you for having me. I think it is a very timely topic, and to be sharing the stage with yourself and all the other great speakers and thought leaders you've put together. I really appreciate it. So I'm humbled by the invitation, and I think it's a great opportunity and time for everyone to continue getting educated on this topic. As you know, financial literacy is one of my passions. One of the things I want to see, not just young people, but all of us are continuing to kind of learn and grow and gain some wisdom, hopefully, in the realm of managing our resources. And cryptocurrency gives us yet another opportunity with something new, a new kid on the block. And that's why it's hard to understand, because when something new comes in, it kind of breaks the status quo, and we don't really know what to compare it to, but we of course try to do that. And it is a new asset class. To simplify it, I would define cryptocurrency as virtual currency, simply. So just the way we're getting comfortable from a user standpoint and a person-to-person standpoint, just the way we exchange money now with one click on our phone through, let's say, tools like PayPal and Venmo. We're not really seeing cash as much anymore, right? Although we still carry cash. Sometimes it's useful, but more and more, these virtual devices are phones that transact for us. And crypto is really the ultimate form of virtual currency. It's just like you have dollars and euros in different countries that have their own currencies. This is now a borderless form of currency that's NGO, in a sense, non-governmental owned or managed. And there's many forms of cryptocurrency. It's not just one, right? Bitcoin was the original one, and it was built as a great use case for blockchain. So blockchain, to differentiate from cryptocurrency, is a distributed ledger technology platform. And by that, we mean to say all of the data that flows in and all the transactions aren't stored in one place in one central server the way they typically are at, let's say, banks and more traditional institutions, which are now adopting as a way to prevent fraud and hacking, adopting more of these distributed systems that basically are a little more fail-safe. If one server goes down or there's some natural disaster, you don't lose all your data because it's copied like 100,000 times over, spread across servers all over the world and even in outer space. So that's a safe way to ensure that people can't go in and hack one computer and all of a sudden steal money or change data. And that's basically what distributed ledger tech or blockchain does. And Bitcoin was just a great initial use case in the financial area to prove how blockchain can work well to support a distributed and non-governmentally managed currency. So even despite all the knocks and the ups and downs, it's continued to sustain itself for over 10 years now and grow. And nowadays, as we'll continue to talk through the conversation, is finding more and more ways into the real world, the day world use cases as a very useful form of currency. So that's hopefully not an overwhelming kind of simple way to define, what cryptocurrency is.
That's great. So basically the blockchain is the platform and cryptocurrency is the actual assets. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Simple way to put it.
And so why is cryptocurrency so controversial? I mean, I have a lot of clients actually in the financial sector, and some of them are like, I wouldn't touch crypto. It's so volatile and all of that. But why is crypto so controversial, and why some are so resistant to it in the US?
Sure.
And because I see that it is so hot in a way, but then people are like, there's like attraction, repulsion kind of a thing going on with crypto in my mind.
Absolutely. Well, it's a threat to the status quo and those that seek to uphold it. Old money bureaucrats, governments, people that really are looking to kind of control things and people, in my opinion, are resistant. There's also an element within human nature in general that kind of likes to get comfortable, right? So that's why when you have, let's say, a younger person, let's say a teenager and their parent and then the grandparents, and the grandparents maybe aren't as comfortable with some of the new technology and the internet, it's almost akin to that, where we get kind of set in our ways, especially as we kind of age a little bit, and kind of keeping the mind kind of young and open to new ideas and innovations is, I feel, important, because this is an innovation. And it is introducing a new way to kind of exchange and store value. But because it's not kind of governmentally controlled and run, it raises flags with certain people. It can open up doors to kind of fraud, and there's been some black market activity with certain cryptos in terms of people being able to move money while protecting their privacy. And those are certainly things that need to be looked at, and the market dealing with that in different ways to ensure that it is safe and isn't used for kind of terrorism or any kind of negative means. So that being said, it's totally understandable that there'd be controversy around it, but all the benefits and the pros of it, I would argue, and I think a lot would as well, outweigh the cons. But you have to solve the problems that it presents as well. And so that's why there's resistance. I think there's also a threat to, let's say, the US dollar. If people start holding their assets in crypto and Bitcoin over dollars, then there's not as much of dollars in circulation, and people maybe don't value the dollar as much, right? So internationally, every country and banks are trying to grapple with, do we need banks anymore? If we're dealing virtually and I'm sending you money through the Bitcoin app or wallet, why do we need a bank if I could store value here now, right? So of course we still need banks for different reasons, but it does present a threat to the status quo and those that have upheld it. And what you're seeing now, even on Congress and Capitol Hill, they're debating how to regulate, and everyone's looking at the US and to see what decisions they make. And it's a really important time, politics-wise. I won't spend too much time on that, but other governments and other countries have been a lot more all in and taking the chance to kind of go a little bit more openly in welcoming cryptocurrencies. And it's really helping to spur a lot of innovation in those places. And a lot of entrepreneurs are going to those places to launch their products and services, whereas here in the US, it's a little bit tougher to do, but it is happening. and it's already started to happen. And slowly but surely, just like the internet, just like online banking, all the new things that people resisted first, 5 years from now, even probably 2, 3 years from now, we won't even be debating it. It'll be established and people will understand and will embrace it over time. It's already happening and it'll continue to.
It's really we're right at the the thick of the battles being fought, right? To see what paradigms are being established. And it seems like, well, I mean, last February, I happened to be in Mexico in a place called Acapulco. And on my flight back, it was this whole convention of like 2,000 people who had attended this summit called Anarchopunk. And it was all on cryptocurrency. And there were 2,000 people who had flown in just for that. And so all of the flights back were filled with those people. And I got to sit next to a really avid guy who is doing his own startup around cryptocurrency. But so this whole name, I thought Anarchopunk, that this anarchy, it seems to be a movement around, there's one sector of this whole community that embraces cryptocurrency that's like really embracing that rebel anarchy mentality. And maybe that also adds kind of the fear around cryptocurrency. What do you think?
For sure. Oh, no doubt about it. Look, I mean, you have the whole spectrum of like political beliefs and social, systems and ideas. And we like to hope that we're all going to live in society that respects people that are all along that spectrum. And I think that, cryptocurrency definitely has that kind of political underpinning of questioning. I mean, the person that started Bitcoin was still under debate as to who did that, but
Satoshi,
the person that wrote the initial white paper there did so and started this whole system in response to the financial crisis of 2008. Say, we can't depend on these big governments anymore. People need to kind of take powers into their own hands, and why should we entrust everything to the governments as far as how we exchange value and services and our energy, basically.
It's kind of like the top-down government versus the people clash is definitely there, but also it seems like the established governments are resisting it a lot more than the governments which are already in turmoil, like Argentina, who has like such an unstable currency system. I think they're really embracing perhaps cryptocurrency as a way to stabilize maybe their financial economy. And, do you think so? You said that.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that you can do with technology like this is really address the unbanked population, which is huge. I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's like 15% maybe of the world, people in poverty in different countries, even right here in the US. Plenty of people that have trouble opening bank accounts because somehow they don't qualify or have the right amount of money to put in. Whereas with different types of cryptocurrencies and digital wallets, I mean, everyone's got a cell phone pretty much, even if they don't have tons of access or means. And as you mentioned there, in different parts of the world, crypto can solve different problems, socially, financially, infrastructure-wise, that governments and banks haven't been able to do. So there's a lot of room for it and kind of a lot of different use cases in places like that than there would be in some of the more established kind of first world type of environments.
Right.
But as I said, even here in the States, we can all go right around the block to see there's plenty of poverty and people in need and problems that could be solved right in our own backyard. We don't need to go halfway around the world to find that.
So I would love to, because you had mentioned the benefits of cryptocurrency as well as the cons. Would you briefly outline that? Like, what are the pros and what are the cons of going into cryptocurrency?
Sure. Well, first of all, as far as everyday people are concerned, I would say, obviously, because this is a new type of asset and a new asset class, so to speak, we could regard it partially, and again, there's thousands of cryptos now. So if you just take, like, say, Bitcoin, which is the most popular one, you can look at it as a currency, as something you can actually hold, keep in a digital wallet, use to pay for things. More and more places all around the world are accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment, and that's only going to increase. So that's one way to think about it, is just as a different type of cash to keep that will be increasingly accepted in different places with different merchants. And another way to think about it is as an investment vehicle, so more like a stock, right? We don't think about using our stock to pay for things necessarily. We think about it as a place we want to invest to see our money grow and then cash it out to buy things. So crypto is kind of a unique asset that it has a bit of qualities of stocks and also qualities of currency. And so I think that's a plus, but it could also be a point of confusion for people. Like, why am I buying this? Is it a buy and hold strategy because I think I'm going to make money, or is it buy or have some just to diversify? So I think some of the pros are that it's generally easy to access and store and spend. Some of the cons are that it can be volatile depending on which ones you're in. I would definitely tell people to be careful, do your research. Don't think this is going to be easy money or something that just automatically goes up. Obviously, the markets have spoken over the last year and a half. We've seen the volatility and the kind of the first big crash happen, which was overdue because things are being inflated like they were with internet stocks back in the day. So I would just encourage people to take a level approach towards it. Some of the initial cons are that there are some barriers to getting in initially with all the talk about where you store your keys, and you could actually have like these codes and store those codes offline. So it's like you have access to this asset, but if you lose those codes, there's no easy way to recover them. So there are a lot of ways in terms of cold storage and storing your access to that asset that can be risky and that require the users to be smart about how they're backing those things up. But now you have things like Coinbase and other companies coming online, Binance, that are making it a bit easier to onboard. You just have to verify your identity, make sure you're not a fraudulent person, show photo ID, legitimate ID, which is good. And then make sure it's a stable asset that belongs to a real person. And there's all kinds of protections and insurance and security involved. So Coinbase would be akin to just having money in your Chase or Bank of America account. I pretty much put it at that level, though it's a newer company. It's a very stable company at this point in the space in the US. Every country has their own nuance there. So I think those complexities of getting involved those barriers have gone down and it's become more accessible. I would advise anyone, if you don't have a Coinbase account, I wish I can give you other alternatives. There's not too many. One other good alternative is the Cash app. Cash is an app that was created it's like a Venmo, PayPal type of app that was created by the company Square, a well-known Silicon Valley entrepreneurs. And the Cash app is super simple. It's cool because you can both have real cash in it, connected to a real credit card, and you can have Bitcoin. You can easily go back and forth.
I have that app. I had no idea.
Yes, so open it up next time and see that there's a little button where you can toggle between cash and BTC. And if you have a couple $100 in cash, you could right now go in and say, okay, I got $200. Let me spend $100 and buy some BTC. And then you'll have now both fiat and crypto right in the same little wallet. So to me, that's a nifty little tool.
Yeah.
But it only has BTC for now. I'm sure they'll add others, whereas Coinbase has Ethereum, Litecoin, and others. So you got to do your research on different wallets and this whole concept of cold storage and offline storage if you really want to kind of get into the privacy of your assets. But if you're comfortable being a little bit more in the cloud and with these major services, then Cash and Coinbase are a good entry point.
Awesome. Thank you for that, because I'm sure that people listening and watching to this interview are listening because partly they want to know how to get in, and overcome that entry to barrier in a way that mitigates the risks. So you're saying that by using this third-party app, you're really reducing the need for, I think for me, the barrier of entry was like having to dedicate gigabytes of my computer just to store this wallet. And I was like, dude, I need to do some work on my computer. And there was a research and there was talk about you're always connected to the internet, it's unsafe, you can get hacked. It made me paranoid, and so I had to stop the process. So do you recommend for everyone watching to, if they're interested in getting into cryptocurrency, that they go through Coinbase or Cash App?
I think Coinbase and Cash app are the two easiest entry points. For the reasons I noted, Cash will give you the ability to have both use an easy just cash fiat app and also have some Bitcoin. Whereas Coinbase, I'd recommend both of them. I'd recommend you open an account with both Cash and Coinbase. You don't have to put in a ton of money. You could put in a couple hundred, couple thousand. Don't take a huge risk until you understand how the markets move. And unless you're looking to be a day trader, which isn't a profession for everyone or most of us, you want to be a little bit more long-term minded in terms of, okay, I've got is a couple hundred or a couple $1,000. Let me buy one of these cryptos, the one, and which one you like just depends on what you're interested in. Some of these cryptos are affiliated with startup companies that do very specific things, like you have cryptos for real estate and different sectors. So depending on your interest, and if there's a field you have expertise in, I mean, there's a ton of cryptos related to like wellness and this whole cannabis business, right? So there's opportunities in healthcare and different sectors if you bring that expertise or have interest in those spaces to invest, just like you would in stocks, right? You buy stocks in tech companies or manufacturing companies because you believe in those sectors. Same kind of deal with crypto as well.
Amazing.
Do your research. Research is important, but there's obviously that are much more established and well-known, and they don't move as much. And then you got more kind of startup entry-level cryptos like the one I'll talk about in a bit, because I'm involved in a startup crypto company, which is going to certainly be more high risk in a sense, as all newer products and companies are. Same deal with cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is kind of like it's not the most stable one, but it's definitely the one that has the most value, and over time is a bit safer than some of the others.
Got it.
In terms of, the fluctuations.
And in this space of the world of cryptocurrency, what are some of the cool and noteworthy things that are happening in this space?
Yeah, I mean, some big companies are getting on board, and funny when like Jamie Dimon, who's the founder, the CEO of Chase, was talking down cryptocurrencies a couple years back, saying that they were just garbage. And in the meantime, Chase and Bank of America and all these banks are the ones spending the most money and time trying to come up with their own products. So what they say in the public face isn't always what happens behind the scenes. So what we're seeing now is all the big guys are finally a year in the think tank coming out and talking about what they're going to do. So most people might have heard already, but if not, Libra, which is Facebook's offering, it's going to be their the name of their cryptocurrency, and the company that supports it just made their big announcement about a month ago. It's not going to launch till 2020, so their announcement is like 6 months away. And they've got all big players on board, like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal. And can you just imagine Facebook, that is the largest kind of business in the world, essentially, in terms of access, a couple billion users that could now, through Facebook and Messenger, quickly and instantly with a touch of a button, send currency to each other, buy things in a store, and just the fluidity of what that's going to enable for e-commerce and just peer-to-peer value exchange and giving donations. I mean, it's just going to frictionless. We're looking to make things frictionless without all the fees and wiring money in Western Union. Just imagine how hard it was to send money in years past. Now it's gotten easier and cheaper. This is going to take that to a whole new level of connectivity and accessibility. It's going to be exciting. And so that's one. And the second one I'll just note is backed with a K. And that's led by Starbucks and Microsoft. Also, the folks that run the New York Stock Exchange have been working for a while, and that's launching like as we speak. So now imagine with your little Starbucks app, you buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, and not just coffee, but many other things. But obviously Starbucks is a great starting point. And then you could imagine every merchant then accepting Bitcoin and other cryptos. And actually what they're doing is they're not necessarily accepting the Bitcoin. They have like an exchange, which on the spot will exchange the Bitcoin at the point of sale terminal. It trades the Bitcoin for cash, and they actually get the cash. So It's kind of like, it's cool. The innovation that's happening, those are two big noteworthy ones. There's many others. I think have time to talk about all of it. But those are two I'd keep our eye out for, because they're going to penetrate the mass consciousness and become mainstream tools that, again, a year or two from now, there'll be so many easy ways to be utilizing this, and it'll just be normal.
I mean, if you can buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, I mean, how much more accessible, right? That's really shows it's arrived. And just today I was on Messenger on Facebook, and I noticed they had this new $sign little thing at the bottom where they're like, hey, you can, send money through Messenger now. So it is happening as we speak. It's quite amazing. And so I would love to hear about your project right now, because you're really creating something that's going to impact financial literacy. How does cryptocurrency really impact or relate to financial literacy? Because we have a whole new generation of kids growing up with this.
Absolutely. Well, because, digital natives, right? I mean, the kids born nowadays, all the millennials grew up with computers, internet, smartphones in hand. My 4-year-old son, he can run circles around me with this thing. He knows how to use it better than I do, accessing apps. And all of his apps are like these games where he plays, where you do things to win little coins in the game. So that's kind of its own little form of virtual currency. So these digital natives, they just get it when it comes to digital currency, which is where I think it opens up a tremendous opportunity to educate young people what I consider, and I believe truthfully is, a major life skill, which is financial literacy. I don't think we've given it the respect or the attention. I mean, schools definitely don't teach it. So you're really left to learn it. You're left to your own devices, or hopefully to learn a lesson or two at home about just how to value things, how to earn and save. And there's so many emotional and psychological lessons we learn through how we deal with energy, basically, and resources, right? It's all energy at the end of the day. And so I think nowadays with our project, which is KidCoin, we're building an app that's going to be released certainly this fall. So we're looking at, less than 60 days from now. Very excited about it. We've been working on it for about a year and a half. And yeah, very excited. And the app is basically going to allow families, parents to basically help raise their kids in terms of this life skill, financial literacy. And it's going to be, I don't love this word, but it's a good word, I guess, it's gamified. It's going to be really gamified app. It's going to be fun, easy to use, not like some overwhelming financial banking feel type of thing. And it's going to allow parents to do things like give their allowances to kids, reward them for doing chores with KidCoin, which is going to be the virtual currency that they use in the platform. And then kids will be able to, because as you know, I'm big on goal setting and things of that nature. Kids can set goals, financial and otherwise, and use the platform to manage their goals. And if their goal has an attachment of a dollar value, they could see how it's going to take them to get there. They can ask for support from parents and other family members, or maybe on their birthdays or Christmas, they'll be getting gifts through KidCoin from the grandparents and friends. So it's a real, I believe, a healthy way to onboard kids at a very young age. I mean, we're pushing this to start at the age of 4, like my son, when they start already accessing technology and understanding that, hey, that candy and those toys cost money, and mommy and daddy have to go to work to be able to buy that for you. And there's things you can do if you do well in school, then you can get things. So all those things that have been going on for ages already, how we teach values to young people, I believe we need to put a nice highlight on this financial literacy, or some people say financial capability, and really use tools like this. So I think crypto is the perfect kind of confluence. It's the perfect timing to use a cryptocurrency type platform, and that's so we're building with that in mind, and use that to do something that really hasn't been done well yet, which is teaching young people this life skill before they have to learn the lesson the hard way, graduating from college and paying bills and getting a job. I mean, obviously that's its own life experience and it's important, but you want to be well prepared. You want to prepare your kids for that. That's basically what we do.
I love that you're combining, that's just the fact that kids learn goal setting, period, I love my parents, but just the, financial literacy was something that they didn't really put a lot of emphasis on. So it was something I had to learn as an adult the hard way. So I think that's an amazing thing, that it's almost like social change through this cutting edge technology, which is so you, Arman, I have to say. That's amazing. And I know you have and I would love for our audience, I think many of whom have kids, to access this platform. And I know you have a generous gift for us. Would you explain what that is?
For sure. Well, just go to kidcoin.com, KIDCOIN.com, and there's just a simple box there. It's an email sign up. It's called a whitelist. Just put a valid email in there, and you will be able to get 100 KidCoin, which is $25 worth. Offer that to anyone for basically signing up. So awesome. It's pretty simple. Email in, and then we'll contact you after the fact, confirm that you came through the Uplevel Summit, and we'll make sure that when the app launches within 60 days, likely around mid-October here, 2019, that your digital wallet, which will be either through your iOS or Android phone, you'll download the app and your wallet will have those 100 KidCoins in it. You could start them to your kids. You could obviously buy more KidCoin if you see the need for continuing to utilize more of it. But this will give you a chance to kind of test the waters, see how it works, get your kids involved, kids will get kind of their own interface, and they'll be interacting with the parents in terms of giving, receiving, asking, goal setting, approving, things like that. So it really helps build that relationship and bond between the parents and kids. And so hopefully folks will take advantage of that offer and give us some feedback. We're always, it's a first version, right? So we're going to be looking to constantly iterate and improve it. But of course, we'll be looking for feedback from all of our users.
I love it. So all the information there will be a bar below with this offering. So click that and it'll go to KidCoin, and it just, hey, your email address, right? How many times have you opted in for like nothing, So you're going to get $25 of KidCoin, which is, love it if you could support Arman's project, because I think it is such important and new arena. And whether we like it or not, these new generation of kids are gonna be into the digital world. So I think what better way to help them learn goal setting, important life skills, financial literacy, and the importance of saving at a young age. I truly wish this was around when I was a kid. So thank you for the work you do in the world, Arman. I'm so inspired by you. And I truly hope that everyone watching this will take advantage of your offer. Head over to kidcoin.com and check out, what he's up to and what KidCoin is really. I think there's more about KidCoin there. And there's a wealth of information that I would love to have you on again at a future point in a podcast. We're talking more about cryptocurrency as the world turns, right? It's exciting to see what unfolds. So, but for today, I want to thank you from my heart for joining me and sharing your wealth of knowledge, information, inspiration, and service you're doing in the world. And
thank you for having me, and good luck with the rest of the conference. I really look forward to seeing the other presenters and conversations, because it's a great conversation with you, and for being the guide for this and the spark that created this platform. And I know anyone tuning into all the sessions will get a tremendous amount out of it because you're guiding it. So thank you for that, and let's definitely stay in touch. I'll update you on our progress with the company, but more importantly, industry-wide. Let's definitely have a checkpoint maybe a few months from now.
Yes, we'd love to talk just like maybe right after you launch. And so for everybody listening, I would love to hear your aha from this interview. If we're going to take action, post that, because when you put it out there, it's like you're much more likely to actually do it. I already have a Coinbase account, but I was like shy about doing anything in there. So I think I'm actually going to move into investing a little bit into the cryptocurrency world, just because I was so inspired. And I do see the world moving in this direction. So thanks again for your inspiration. Thanks again for joining us. Everyone who watched, thank you so much. And look forward to the next episode of the Uplevel Summit. Thanks so much, everybody. I'm going to sign off now. Take care.